Alright, this is Crota giving you the Protoss update. Recall now functions as it does with the mothership core. Okay, cool. So the mothership recall now functions as it does with the mothership core. So it basically it's a get out of jail free or a scroll of town portal. The mothership core is no longer massive. Okay, good. That definitely does help. Vortex does not affect massive units. Vortex now kills a single target. Well, what massive unit would you want to attack that, or what unit would you want to vortex that isn't massive? Um, for 100, I guess the mothership is a one-shot kill for siege tanks, immortals. Okay, I can see it being used on immortals very effectively. Yeah, I think that's it. I think nothing against the Zerg army. Vortex, which was a backbone spell for Zerg against anti-Zerg, is now becoming um, a more of a Terran and a Protoss spell. All right, Oracle, now called Activate Pulsar Beam and Deactivate Pulsar Beam. When activated, the Oracle's Pulsar Beam is enabled. Weapon deals 15 plus 10 damage to light. Weapon period changed to 0.86. Wow, okay, that's really fast. Weapon range reduced. Weapon drain is now 4 per second. Build time increased from 50 to 35. Okay, so I guess this is going to be... Yeah, this is a harassing unit for Protoss. Basically, it's designed to kill a worker in about less than one real time second, or maybe 1.5 game time seconds, and it has a range of 4, but it's a very, very fast moving unit. And I guess it just activates and it just goes after and it tears apart workers. 25 damage versus light. That is a lot of damage. That is, I believe, faster than a Banshee can actually kill it. And I believe the Oracle will now be the Oracle will be even more of a challenge than a Banshee is. So nicely done there. But the range is now down to 4, so not a range of 6. We'll take some fancy flying, which the Oracle can do. Phoenix range increased from 4 to 5. Wow. Okay, so Phoenixes are now even better equipped at handling Mutalisk, even more so with that +2 range. So they have a range from 4 to 5, and then a range from 6 to 7. Very, very nice. Dark Shrine cost has been decreased. Okay. Tempest now requires a fleet beacon. All right, that makes it more of a tier 3 unit. Attacks with 2 weapons. Primary weapon is Kinetic Overload, hits air units and remains unchanged. The secondary weapon, Resonance Coil, hits ground units and does not deal bonus damage to massive units. Build time is now 60 seconds. Wow, that was like a buff and a nerf all at the same time. Let me read that one more time. Okay, requires the fleet beacon, so it's going to be later. It has better anti-air, I believe. So I guess the Tempest is now going to be a better counter to, say, Broodlords, but the secondary weapon's Resonance Coil hits ground units and does not deal bonus damage. So the only difference is the air version gets a bonus damage to massive and the ground version doesn't. Okay, build time is now 60, so that it's going to be faster to use. Okay, Prismatic Beam no longer charges up, so how much damage does it do? Weapon period decreased from 0.6 to 0.5. Alright, no longer does passive plus massive damage. Prismatic Alignment, new ability, increases damage to armored units by 6 for 20 seconds with a 1 minute cooldown. This does not scale with 20 seconds. This does not scale with upgrades. Alright, so it does 24 damage. Wow, this is difficult to wrap my head around. All right, so it essentially got like a 20% bonus there. Okay, Void Ray, I'm gonna need to see in action. If you take a look at this, I think without looking at the Zerg, I think the Protoss upgrades are perhaps the most confusing. The Mothership Core, its recall function is pretty much a get out of jail free card, so that the mothership and the mothership core, as we move forward, should always be with the army. I think that's how we're gonna see it. It's gonna make that slow moving death ball a little bit more, but I think that's what we're gonna see. If they really want to see the mothership be used over the mothership core in that function, I believe the mothership needs to have a speed bonus. Now that they changed Vortex, now that they changed Vortex, the mothership should be able to move faster, just because there's not going to be that quick fly in and catch an opponent's army all together and vortex them and kind of kill them that way. You're not going to see that. So I think the mothership core is due for a movement speed buff. Oracle, the pulsar beam, already talked about that. It's going to be a very, very effective attack that is able to just destroy workers. Now, the only question I have is, does it still give you resources for attacking? That would be like a slap in the face there. Like, I'm killing your SCVs, and at the same time, I'm getting more minerals. I'll have to check with that. I'll have to look at replays and study that a little bit more. Phoenix range, very, very straightforward. Dark Shrine, I did not realize that it cost 250 gas for a Dark Shrine. So they said that they were going to try to make Dark Shrines, Dark Templars a bit better, but not in terms of DT rushes. I don't think this is the way to go. Reducing the cost of gas on a Dark Shrine by 150 is gonna make it much faster to get a DT rush. Don't know quite about that. Tempest has, as I said, attacks with 2 weapons: primary weapon, secondary weapon. The primary weapon is its anti-air attack now, and the secondary weapon is its ground attack. So it almost sounds like they want the Tempest to be a longer range anti-massive Viking. So I think that could work now that the Void Ray was changed. Prismatic Beam no longer charges up on the Void Ray, doesn't deal passive damage versus massive, and yeah, I loved Void Rays with their passive damage versus massive. So the game where my Void Rays were actually destroying Tempest, that is not going to be the case any longer, because I think Tempest will actually come out ahead as it deals extra damage or has extra hit points. So I think that's going to be the change there, unless you activate the Void Ray's cooldown ability, which says it deals an additional 6 damage for 20 seconds, which is essentially double damage. I think it's actually 6 damage, 10 damage to armored, so it's going to be 16 damage. 16 damage to armored units, if I remember, so that's going to be about 30 damage a second. All right. I can see how that worked, because I believe how Void Rays were working was about 40 damage a second against... 40 damage a second against armored units before. So, or 40 damage against massive units before. I'll have to double check that. Now, those are my thoughts on Protoss. This is a massive overhaul in terms of balance. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm really going to have to play Heart of the Swarm tomorrow.